and was prepared to do it from there. But the lighting in that office is starting to get dark and everything, and like it doesn't light up quite so well. I'm like, I'll just come home.
I gotcha. All right. Well, hi. Thanks so much for everyone joining us at another Collector's Corner event here. We're a little bit running late, so I do apologize for that. But my cat is trying to eat these flowers. Sorry. The trials and tribulations of being at home. Yeah, once again, my name's Andrew Iwamasa with Collector's Corner over here in Midland, Michigan. And right now we're actually being joined by Josh from SourcePoint Press. And we're going to do some chatting about Free Comic Book Day, SourcePoint Press, and whatever else, I guess, comes up our way. All right. So, Josh, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time at last minute here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about SourcePoint Press and specifically what you guys are going to be doing at the Collector's Corner event on August 14th?
So SourcePoint has been around for a while now, building from a small comic book company to something bigger, trying to work our way up over the years, combining with Deepwater Games. So we don't just make comics now; we get into board games as well. Phone going off. We've come to a really awesome place now where I've been with SourcePoint for a long time as a volunteer, and now it's my full-time job. And so, that's awesome because we've grown that much. And as far as Free Comic Book Day goes, we have a lot of plans in a lot of different places. My involvement in Midland and stuff, we've had a couple of things in Midland, and I was kind of thrown at that little last minute. We're going to be at the farmers market, correct?
Right. Yeah. The old farmers market down by the Tridge. That's been confirmed by the city of Midland, which we're really excited about.
Awesome. Yeah. It's a great area.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They're going to close off the little donut-y area. So we're going to have enough room to social distance and be safe because, who knows what it's going to be like in a couple weeks. But we want to make sure that we are, enabling everyone to come out, have fun, but also, be safe as well. Special guest star, Hero.
Hello.
How you doing, sir? But yeah, so it's going to be a great area, and knock on wood, the weather will be good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things that you're going to do is not only have product available, right, for things that have already been out, but you're also not only a comic creator, but you're also the submission editor for SourcePoint, correct?
Yeah, so I've been submissions editor for a couple of years now, and it's mostly looking at what people submit online, but at conventions as well, I'm usually checking out Artist Alley, seeing what creators are there, talking to them. If people come to the booth, talking to them about their work, if they have a portfolio, if they have a project they want us to look at. So I've got experience looking at portfolios and projects that people might want to bring to the event and get some feedback on, and mostly just always try to be constructive, with any feedback. Nobody wants to hear bad news. So
right. Well, so I guess if someone was wanting to come out, says, hey, I've been wanting to make a comic, I'm trying to break in, or even someone who says, I published something before, what would you recommend they bring so you could get a good idea of whether it's something that would be a good match for SourcePoint, or I guess that process? Because I can't draw stick figures. So my ability to do any art or anything like that, I don't have any idea on what the process is like. And I do know there's at least one or two people in the area that I've talked to, including our local comic book artist, Chloe Leslie, who's doing a Aftershock exclusive retailer cover for us as well, is kind of interested in knowing what the process is.
Okay.
So maybe you can shed a little more light.
Yeah, so it's pretty. The process has actually gone through some refining for not having conventions for a while, and like I said, now that this is my full-time job, I'm in the office. We can, instead of just checking an email and saying, "Hey, this stuff looks cool," we're trying to build it more. And so, like now, it's more, if we get a submission through a special form on the website. And whether it's art or a comic project, that's something we can look at, differentiate between the two. If it's a project that looks good, I'm not the only eyes on it at this point. Another important thing is like if it's cool, I make sure to set it aside, and we have a meeting where a group of us are actually reviewing. So it's not a decision made in a vacuum kind of thing. And with conventions coming back and events and everything, hopefully it'll go back to a little bit more when we do have those, and I can look at portfolios and projects personally and say like this might not be the kind of thing we're looking for in this genre. This might not be an art style we're looking for. Maybe you need a little bit of development. And like I said, any feedback we give, even if it's not something we're looking for, we want to make sure it's positive feedback, because you never know what you might, if the person you might have to reject today could be someone that you want to be working with in a year from now.
Sure.
And, as long as they take that feedback and they run with it. So the best thing that somebody could bring to us would be as close to a finished product as possible. Whether if it's a comic project of yours, if it's something that you've actually made, having that physical item is very important. If it's just artwork and you have your portfolio with you, the best thing you can have is like sequential pages, sequential art, to show like, yeah, you absolutely understand the process. That a standard comic is probably 22 to 28 pages of interior artwork, and it's not an easy thing to produce, and it's certainly not an easy thing to get used to producing that on a deadline. Especially in the classic sense of like month to month. So if you can do that, that's awesome. So like that's the kind of stuff we look for, is like what kind of schedule can you keep? What is your skill level within that schedule? Things like that. Sure. So yeah, we break everything down. So
that's awesome. Are there different times where you look at, like, say, someone just exclusively as cover artist, or are you looking for someone that is, the storyteller, doing everything from pencils, inks, colorings? I mean, I assume there are a wide variety of people. Well, I know there are a wide variety of people that you've worked with in the past as your company has grown. So is that something that is potentially possible for people, or should they be looking for a very specific type of role?
It's hard to say, because sometimes our schedule demands certain things. Like I said, genres can be a big deal. If we have a lineup that's heavily fantasy based, we kind of can't take in any more fantasy regardless. Or in the sense of artwork, if somebody is looking to be a cover artist, which we actually get quite a few people looking to do cover art, the trick with that is also like we have a variant program that is headed by Garrett Gunn, and if somebody wanted to get into doing specifically variant covers, things like that, there are opportunities there. It just depends on if it's something we're looking for, if their style matches with that particular book, and things like that. So definitely opportunities.
That's awesome. So if someone does bring something in and there isn't something that you think it matches well now, is that something you kind of keep a catalog of, for example, and say, hey, I remember we saw this person out at this event, and wow, we have this thing coming up next year that we didn't know about. Let's reach out to that person? Or is it something that the creators need to kind of keep an eye out on themselves and kind of resubmit themselves from time to time?
It's sort of like a two-way street in that sense. One thing that I noticed back when we didn't really have so much of a process with submissions, it was just me checking the email. There would be projects, and then there would be artists. And the artists respond very differently, because they're looking to submit, like they're sort of submitting themselves more than an actual project. So what I tried to do was I started building a database of the artists themselves, just collecting different information so that I know, like, just because this isn't a project doesn't mean it's worth like just saying sorry, it's good to know artists and stuff. So I actually started that back when, and then now that we've got more of a process built up with our new submission system, I've sort of worked to continue doing that in a different way so that when people submit now, there are different like tabs in our submissions form where if this is a comic or a novel or art specifically, so then it switches the form up. So then you can be like, I'm interested in cover art, pencil art, inks, things like that. You can break it down a little bit more specific to your talent.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. All right, so I think that's a lot of great news for them, or for what kind of things people can hope to bring out. What about kind of some stuff that you're going to have at Free Comic Book Day with Collector's Corner down at the Tridge? Obviously, there's the huge Gloomhaven free comic that we're going to be giving away. Anything else that you're thinking about spotlighting or bringing to mention here?
So a lot of these events and everything, it's going to be like a convention where we look at whether it's a convention or a signing or whatever event we're doing, we look at who's going to be there and, what we want to push in relation to that. So it'll probably be like half an amount of stuff that's like, yeah, we want to push this product a lot. Like you said, the Free Comic Book Day Gloomhaven out, of course, because that's the event. And because I'm there, I'll probably bring my Roaring Twenties book because that's something I wrote. And then the latest issue of Monstrous, it's Heartbreaking Blood Loss #3. I actually did the pencil line art in, so I'll probably have some of that as well. Things that the creators that attend the events, we try to make sure they have enough of their material to push as well. So sure. It will include some of my work.
Awesome. That's great. So that's another bonus that you'll get at the Collector's Corner event. Be able to meet Josh and be able to get some signatures there, which is really cool. Now, I know that like Chloe, who's going to be there as well, is going to be doing some kind of free pencil sketches as she has time and able. Do you have any idea that you might be able to have anything like that? Or due to time restriction, maybe not?
It probably depends on the time and stuff. In the past, I would do that all the time, all the way back to the Michigan Comics Collective, things like that. We, getting started and doing like, free sketches with the purchase, things like that. And it was a lot easier when I wasn't trying to push a book at the same time, kind of thing, or, handle all the sales, stuff like that. So it'll be a different experience. I'll have to see what I have time to do, sure. Things like that. So I would certainly love to. It's always fun doing things like that.
Champagne problems, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. And just, I guess, to give a spotlight, we had a question by one of our great customers, Adam Luna, asked what we actually have planned for the event. And I apologize. I've been really behind schedule on getting things actually out and listed. But I've got a bunch of texts that we're going to be pushing out here very shortly. But just to give an overview on what we're doing. And if you, Josh, have any questions, because I often don't think of everything, feel free to ask. But Free Comic Book Day is an annual event that's been going on. And this is going to be the 20th year that we're doing it. And there are going to be over 50 different comic books that are going to be given away free. To the public. And I think last year we gave away, or 2 years ago, I apologize. Last year, because of COVID, was a little weird. But 2 years ago, we gave out over 2,500 comic books. This year, we're hoping to get out over 4,000 comic books. We're hoping that this event's going to be even bigger and better. And basically celebrate the comic book industry. So whether you're someone that's a veteran comic collector or someone that's only seen maybe some of the Marvel films or TV shows, this is a great opportunity for you to check out what's going on in the comic industry, because it's not just superheroes. It's not just kids books like what a lot of people still think of as, Archie or Richie Rich. Yeah, the comic book industry has become something that is a form of literature, and really exposing this with the free comics that we're putting out, including the Source Point Press Gloomhaven book, really showcases the different types of genres that you can do and the different types of storytelling and artwork. It's just phenomenal. And so that's the main kind of reason for Free Comic Book Day. But one of the things that my wife and I and my family really wanted to focus on was community this year, because of everything, not only with COVID, that everyone has had to go through in the past year, but also with the flooding and the dams and all the issues locally that we've had. We really wanted to give a shout out to a lot of the local creators, local businesses, and small businesses in general. But even more than that, I guess, like more mom and pop shops like myself, right? Because there's small business, which is really way bigger than what I am. I'm really a mom and pop shop, even though we've been around for 26 years. We're not really that level. And so we wanted to spotlight a lot of businesses like that. And so we're teaming up with a lot of other businesses like the Pop Gourmet Popcorn Shop, Radio Wasteland Records, and even places as big as like Ace Hardware, who have a local impact here, and kind of just put more eyes on their businesses, so we can get people to shop local. Because I know it's really easy to buy from the major chain stores or even online these days. Where I'd like to think that a lot of stuff that I do personally and have done over the past 26 years is really give people an experience for shopping. A lot of the product you can just buy on Amazon or eBay or wherever. And so, that goes for a lot of different places. But the thing that Midland community in specifically is really good at is bringing to the table more than just product, bringing an experience, bringing a connection with people. And I think that is something that the comic industry specifically is really good at. So it just made sense for us to want to expand that out into other businesses that really have nothing to do with the comic book industry, but enable us to get more eyes on their businesses as well.
That's really cool. And I'm glad you pointed a lot of that out too, because that's something that the comic industry has kind of always felt, because those of us who've spent time in comic book shops all over the place, whenever we travel and things like that, it's like, I got to see the local comic book store, because it's a very different experience than like, oh, well, I'm in another state. Going to Walmart's pretty much the same experience, and you're probably going because the familiarity. But when you're out of town, you see a different comic book store. There's a very different experience that comes from that, because like most comic book shops are just very mom and pop stores, and it's partly because of the way the industry is shaped, but it's also like losing my words, but it's sort of just, it really captures that essence of the industry, and how like when you're at a convention, you can definitely feel that community. So when you're in a good comic store, you get that experience and you feel that community. So like, yeah, there's definitely a sense of community to the comic books industry itself that would be awesome to spread into other businesses if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's got to be the hardest part for me personally, because of the pandemic, we closed our physical location last year. And being there for 26 years in the same spot, it was really, really a lot harder for me to actually do that than I was expecting. Our family is an at-risk family, and my father is in his 80s. And so we had a lot of reasons why we had to take COVID very seriously. Now, I'm not about to tell anyone one thing or the other, but just for us personally, what we went through was the decision to make sure we were taking extra precautions, not only for my family, but also the people that work with us and our customers to make sure everyone was staying safe. Even leading up to the point where I was taking the last things from the store, it was something that all of a sudden crept up on me. Even though I made the decision that we were going to do that probably a month before I vacated the store, that night was just a week before celebrating my anniversary, right?
Oh, wow.
And wow, it was weird. It hit me really hard because the people that I've seen grow up in our shop and kids that have come back, well, I call them kids, but it's been 20 plus years. And so some of them come back with kids of their own and be like, oh, I had such great memories of, coming here, and now they're bringing their kids. I mean, it was, it's something that I will cherish for the rest of my life, and something that I love about the comic book industry and making those connections. And that's the thing that I miss the most about not having our physical location. And even though we've been continuing to service the Mid-Michigan area and then actually expanding with doing a lot of shipping nationwide, it's definitely something that I don't get as much. So these types of things, I actually really appreciate doing on a personal level. It's very kind of almost selfish and gratuitous for me, but it allows me to have that kind of interaction. So I appreciate that as well.
Definitely. That's one thing I think sort of like a silver lining to the pandemic is like it having to shut everything down kind of points out how connected everything is, so it's like, oh, wow, like, yeah, we missed this for a reason, like these kinds of connections are important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting back to them is going to be really good to get there.
Yep, I agree. So one of the other important things that we're going to be doing here at Free Comic Book Day also is we're going to be honoring first responders as well. So we have the Midland Police Department, some volunteers coming out from Mid-Michigan Medical and the Trauma Department. The Fire Department, I just got confirmation, is going to be out there. Who else is going to be there? We've got some people from mental health departments that we're trying to get out and really kind of honor them, because again, everything that they do on a daily basis is so phenomenal, but everything they've had to do over the past year has been above and beyond to another level. So we're going to be doing some of that. They're going to be out there with patrol cars, fire trucks, and whatnot. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of interactive stuff. We also have the Center for the Arts is going to be out there with us, kind of spotlighting some of the classes that they do and things that they do locally here for our community. And they got some neat little experiments that they want to do with us. So the amount of things that we've got going on, I'm so excited for. We've invited the 501st Legion, Star Wars Legion, out. Haven't gotten confirmation on whether they're going to be able to make it out, because I know there's a lot of events going on this weekend. Just like you were saying, you guys are spread kind of thin this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you guys have Grand Rapids Comic Con going on, right? And then there's obviously the other stores locally in the area that are going to be having Free Comic Book Day. Was there other events that Source Point's going to be at that weekend?
Oh, we have events that, nationwide that have wanted, representation from us, and which is really a really good problem to have. So we've been doing our best to plan out, who's going to be where, kind of thing. So that's part of why we're spread so thin, is like, like who can do what? We've got so many places looking to have somebody there. So, but we're happy to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very, very cool. I showed this before. This is actually the cover that Daniel Mobley did for us. We're going to be doing a raffle. And so this is one of the items that we're going to be giving away. And it's a hand-drawn sketch cover that he did on DC Milestone's return cover. And so this one was still right on the front. And then he actually did double-sided on it. So super excited, very cool. Full color, hand-drawn original artwork on this comic book. And that's going to be part of our free raffle that we're going to be giving away. So that's another, if you haven't been convinced on coming out to our event, another thing that we're doing there. We also, I mentioned briefly earlier, but I actually haven't made the official announcement, so maybe I'll do that right now. Chloe Leslie is a local artist that I've worked with before at the shop, and she has graciously done an original artwork variant cover that we've got on Aftershock's comic, The Dragon Incident, which is coming out August 11th. And she is going to be at our free comic book day event signing that comic. And there's going to not only be a cover A and B for that, like there are with, regular text and then a virgin cover, but also a limited edition number of metal covers that we're going to be doing for that. And I know you guys have done a few metal covers before, but for those of you that are listening, if you haven't seen one of these before, it's actually a comic book with a actual metal cover. I don't know how else would you describe them?
It's really no other way to describe it. It's if you're a fan of like steelbook collections of like movies and things like that, it's kind of the comic equivalent of that.
Yeah. And her artwork is very stylized, very cool. She did a book, and I really am being an awful retailer right now. I don't remember the name of it, but she did the artwork, and it was written by Stephen Herrick, who is also a great friend of the shop. And so I think she's going to have some of those available as well, but she's working on her own book. And so just wonderful stuff. So we'll actually be posting that actual artwork here very shortly. But so you'll be able to get that exclusive. It's only going to be available from our shop, Collector's Corner, but then also Galaxy Comics over in Saginaw. We went in to do this cover together, but the metal cover is actually only going to be available through our shop, which is kind of exciting. It's the first time we've done an exclusive like that. So pretty excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess Daniel wasn't able to join us tonight, unfortunately, so I do apologize for that. But I know he's super excited to get some feedback on what people think about that comic. And he used to be a local creator, but he actually has since moved down south, but still a great friend of ours. So I cornered him into doing that comic book cover for us. But I think that's what we'll wrap up with today. I'll definitely be getting some more information and posting it, and also talking about specifically the comics that are going to be coming out and available for Free Comic Book Day. We do have them on our website already under Free Comic Book Day 2021. You can't purchase them, but they are shown there with the cover artwork and a blurb about them. So you can kind of have advance notice as to what's going to be available for free. And then, of course, we'll have tons of stuff on sale and all sorts of goodies like that. But if you have any specific questions for me, or for Josh, for that matter, give us a direct message on Facebook, or you could leave some comments down below. You can find us at ccornermi.com. or basically ccornermi anywhere, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And moving forwards here, we'll be on social media a little bit more. Again, knock on wood. And Josh, how about you? Where can we find you in Source Point Press?
I'm on a few of the major social media sites, Facebook, Instagram. Sometimes I'm on Twitter. But mostly, if you check out the SourcePoint website, you can actually should be able to search by creator and find any of my work if you feel free to do that. You can always reach out to me personally or SourcePoint as a whole for any specific questions on stuff that I might not be so privy to. I think the only other thing I would say is wherever you are, try to check out what is going on for Free Comic Book Day in your area.
Yeah, absolutely. Nationwide event. Definitely check out what is going on locally. All of the local comic book shops definitely can use your support these days. And every one of us has a different kind of feel. And so they're definitely worth checking out. And if you stop by, make sure you say hello to us. And Josh, I'm sure, has some great, interesting stories that he can tell about Travis. And we can get some good dirt on him so we could troll him a little bit online, just because this is going to be the first time in SourcePoint Press history that Travis has not done Free Comic Book Day at Collector's Corner. And I got to say, I'm actually legitimately disappointed that he's not going to be there, but we're happy to have you out. Adam, thank you for asking what time Free Comic Book Day is going to be. August 14th from 12 o'clock noon until 5 p.m. is when we're going to be there. So I hope you can join us. In the past, people have lined up early when it used to be over at our store. But since we're not at that location anymore, it will be at the Old Farmers Market, the donut area, down by the Tridge in downtown Midland. So we hope you can join us. Again, any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And thanks again, Josh. I really appreciate you coming on out.
No problem. Glad to be here.
All right. Peace. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
And I